Welcome back to another arcade fix for part 2 of the portable battery-powered Tektronix 211 oscilloscope. In the last video, we replaced the battery pack, two NiCad battery packs, and that didn't fix the scope. So we're going to have to dig a little deeper. So I went ahead, and there's a little screw on the bottom I had to take loose. We're going to have to take the CRT out to get to the power supply board. So I took that screw out, and now I'm taking this board off. And I took a picture of these connections so I know how to connect them back. So I'm going to disconnect the board here. And I guess I'm gonna carefully unplug unplug the CRT. That's a cute little CRT, isn't it? Shielded in metal. Great. The little screen fell out. Little plastic screen. Alright, let's see. Let me go ahead and unplug these again. I'm going to have to put a piece of tape around that one to hold it together. Guess what? The reason it didn't work maybe is because this wasn't plugged in all the way. I mean, I got it wrong. One tooth off. I told you that was a hard booger. Those pins don't look the cleanest either. Get my fiberglass scratch pin here. Clean these pins up a little bit. So who knows? Maybe this thing would have worked. Let's see what the other one looks like. That one looks pretty clean. Alright. Let me put some tape on this. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and tape the battery up. Put the battery in where it's easy to get in, and I'm going to reassemble this real quick and come back and we'll check it and see if it works. Well, that wouldn't do it. I got the battery plugged in right. I got everything back together. It still won't come on. So we need to dig into the power supply. So let me disassemble it again and we'll start making some checks. Well, I made a little progress. I went ahead and discovered that the new batteries weren't fully charged. And the power supply in this, if the batteries get down to 10 volts total, it shuts everything down. So last night I went ahead and I checked it. I plugged in the AC power cord, and I checked the batteries first with it disconnected from the AC, and I was getting I guess a little over 10 volts, about 10.5 volts from the two 6-volt battery packs. It should be 12 volts. So then I plugged in the AC cord with everything connected, and the battery voltage started going up. So it was charging. So I went ahead and left it on charge all night, and now the voltage is up to like 14 volts. So I put it all back together. And now I actually got all my voltages, and I actually have something on the screen here. Now what I've done now is I've hooked the probe up to my B&K oscilloscope to the 1 kilohertz calibration connection here. And this is what it looks like on the B&K scope. This is what it looks like on this little scope here. It seems like I can adjust the, I guess, the vertical position, the horizontal position, the intensity. Let's see, what other controls have we got here? Triggering and horizontal. Can't read what that is. Something about horizontal. That one seems to move it to one side only. And this other one does nothing, the triggering. The internal external button does nothing. Also, I noticed the battery meter doesn't move, but that's probably stuck. It's so old. A lot of those old meters, they hang up the joule in there. So I'm not worried too much about that. So it seems like it's something in, let's see, it's not letting, the signal is not, what would you call that? The horizontal amplifier. The signal's not being amplified horizontally. I don't know. I have vertical because I got these two on the trace here, and I'm thinking that that's what these two are. I'm getting the two lines here, but I'm not getting any deflection this way. My positioning is working. Like I say, I can position it, move it up and down, and right and left. And let's see, if I turn the voltage, see, that seems to work. And this is the timing, the seconds and division. When I get to there, it goes out. So that's not working on anything but there. Those two last settings, 10 volt and 1 volt. So it could have something to do with the, well, that might not be working either. I don't know. I'm just going to have to go through now and check this board that's under the CRT right here. I think that's the amplifier board for the XY positioning or whatever. Maybe it has something to do with that. It could have something to do with something on this board here. It seems like all the transistors on these boards have plugs in them, where you can plug them, unplug them from the board and plug them back in. That makes it real nice for checking to, you know, testing them. But if you got crappy connections, which I haven't found any that looks corroded, so that's a good thing. But yeah, that's a line of transistors on this board here. So it could be a problem with some of those. So I'm going to go through it and check a little more and see if I can't figure this out. But we are making progress. We do have all our voltages, and we got our high voltage. I couldn't check it with my multimeter because my multimeter is Cat 3. It only goes up to 600 volts. So I had to get out the old high voltage probe there. And even though it doesn't really measure it, each segment on there is 2,000 volts, or yeah, 2,000 volts. When I hooked it up to it, it did deflect the meter in the negative direction because the high voltage connection here is supposed to be 1,000 volt negative, so between 900 and 1,000. So it was deflecting the high voltage meter in the negative direction, and it was moving approximately half a mark on the meter, which should be about right. So pretty sure I got all, and I wouldn't have a trace on the scope here if I didn't have that voltage. So I think I'm good in the voltage range. So let me do some more checking and see if I can narrow this problem down. Maybe, just maybe, we can bring this old scope back to life. Okay, well, I finally got it all back together. Before I put it back together, I cleaned all the controls and switches with some deoxit, and I made sure that it didn't have any bad connections, cold solder joints. I checked everything over. It's a whole lot of pins and plugs inside this thing. So anyway, I'm pretty sure they're gold-plated pins, but everything looked good. I put it back together. This thing is a bear to put back together because you got to get the power cord, the AC cord, and the probe. One goes in the back of one side, one goes in the back of the other side, and they're kind of hard to get routed in there. But I got them routed in, got it all back together, and it's working. Now, this is an old analog scope, and I basically have the same problem that I've had with my other analog scope up here. When I was trying to use it, when I was building this test card for my HP comparator, I was, trying to test it on the scope to see if I was getting the oscillator frequency right. And so I had to wind up buying this cheap digital scope off of eBay. And I still really like this thing because it gives you the frequency and all, where this won't give you the frequency, but it will show you the display. But it doesn't show it like this in a line. It only shows it like that. And let me zoom in on it. It's set up the same thing, same divisions and same voltage division and the same second or timing division. So both of these are equal right now. So let me zoom in on it, and hopefully you'll be able to see the trace that it is putting out the same pattern that this one's putting out. It's just, well, that's just the way analog scope is, I guess. But it is working. So I did what I was going to do. Put new batteries in it and cleaned everything, cleaned all the controls, and checked the power supply. Everything was working right. And bam, we now have a working 1971 Tektronix 211 oscilloscope, portable oscilloscope. So there we have it. Don't know if I'll ever use it for anything, but who knows? Maybe one day we'll come across a project where it might come in handy. If not, it's a great little collector's item. And yeah, at least I can say I brought it back from the dead. So anyway, that's going to be it for this video. I was going to make a two-parter if this had been a little bit harder to get working and it was going to be a little more involved. But I think I'm going to go ahead and combine it into one video. I do have the carrying case for this, so maybe I'll go get the carrying case and I'll put it in and show you what that looks like. So, and then we'll end the video. Okay, well now I got all three scopes hooked up to the same source. I got it hooked up to the calibration 1 kilohertz connection here on my B&K Precision 35 megahertz 1535A scope. And as you can see, this is the calibration signal. On my little digital scope I got from eBay, I guess you might be able to read that. It says 955.73 I guess that's hertz. Yeah, hertz, because it's not quite, it's just under 1 kilohertz. It's supposed to be 1 kilohertz. So this cheap little meter is probably off, but it's in the ballpark. And as you can see, it's got a more defined signal. I don't know why we don't see the lines here. Sometimes I thought I used to could see those, but I don't remember. It's been so long since I hooked this up to the calibration. But anyway, here we go down to the scope we just fixed, a little portable Tektronix 211. And as you can see, it's got the same exact display. And if I work the controls here, you can see the voltage divisions here work. And that goes off screen. I can position it down and it'll be back on screen. But and here is the second division. As you can see, that too is clearly working. So I think we have a completely working scope. All right. Well, there we go. I think that's proof enough that it now works. So I'm real pleased with that. Okay, well here is the carrying case that came with it. It's in pretty good shape. It's still kind of dirty. I haven't cleaned it up yet, but anyway. And I think I routed the wire for the probe a little bit wrong because it didn't seem to want to line up. It wraps around the back side. The AC cord wraps around the back piece here and hides in this little clip right here. But I managed to get it to roll up where it'll work. So anyway, I imagine it goes in like this. Got a little clip. And there we have it. Nice little carrying case. So, that's going to do it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Something a little different. I like messing with some different things from time to time. And we brought this old piece of test equipment back to life again. So, there we have it. Another arcade fix. Have you had your arcade fixed today?